Hello, I'm Tony Svejcar with the Agricultural Research Service and the Eastern Oregon Ag Research Center, and I'm here to present an Ag Minute. Since we're starting a new year, I thought this might be a good time to describe the Eastern Oregon Ag Research Center, or EOARC, for those who might not be familiar with our organization. EOARC is a cooperative effort between Oregon State University and the Agricultural Research Service, or ARS. Most people are familiar with OSU. ARS is an independent research agency within the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The Research Center is composed of two properties: the headquarters unit on Highway 205, about 5 miles south of Burns, and the Northern Great Basin Experimental Range just past Riley. In the distant past, much of the research was restricted to these two properties. I would guess that less than 50% of our current research is conducted on Research Center ground. We conduct much of our research on BLM and private land. We also have worked in the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge and on Forest Service land. Today I want to describe the staffing at the Eastern Oregon Ag Research Center. On the OSU side, there are 3 scientist positions. One of the scientists is in Burns, one is currently on campus in Corvallis, and one position is vacant. Given the budget situation at OSU, it is unclear when funds will be available to fill the vacant position. On the ARS side, there are 7 full-time research scientists and 2 postdoctoral research associates in Burns. We also have an excellent group of support personnel that keeps the organization functioning. These positions include research technicians, graduate students, farming and maintenance crews, and administrative and clerical staff. These positions are a mix of OSU and ARS employees. We also hire about a dozen college and high school students during the summer. These students typically help with data collection and have been a tremendous asset to us over the years. Today I will describe some of our research focus areas and the scientists involved in those areas. We have a large effort in the general area of juniper and sagebrush ecology, with the primary researchers being Rick Miller, John Bates, and myself. Grazing behavior and livestock production are handled primarily by Dave Bonnert and Dave Ganskop. Weed ecology and management is handled by Roger Sheely, Jay Mangold, and I also participate a little. Chad Boyd is in charge of our riparian management program. We have a new focus on seedling establishment and rangeland restoration, and Jeremy James and Jane Mangold are leading that effort. Many of us actually work in several different areas. There are many talented folks that work on these programs, but the scientists take primary responsibility for developing the research ideas, designing the studies, and hopefully making sense out of the data. Rick Miller and Dave Bonnert are OSU faculty, and Dave is the superintendent for the OSU program. On the Agriculture Research Service side, we have Chad Boyd, John Bates, Dave Ganskop, Jeremy James, Jane Mangold, Roger Sheely, and me, and I'm the research leader for the ARS program. This week I've been describing the Eastern Oregon Ag Research Center, our facilities, people, and programs. I've mentioned that we have an outstanding staff, but as good as they are, they cannot cover all the problems that are important to our customers. So we've established cooperative relationships with other research organizations. All scientists have faculty appointments at Oregon State University, even those of us who work for ARS. Most of us work with the Department of Rangeland Ecology and Management, and Dave Bonnert is with the Department of Animal Science. But at times we ask faculty from forestry, soils, statistics, or other disciplines to participate in graduate student committees. We also work with other ARS locations. An example is the Juniper soil erosion study we conducted several years ago on the Steens. The ARS watershed group from Boise provided people and equipment to do the rainfall simulation, and we had the cut and uncut juniper plots and the long-term vegetation data. The project required about a dozen people for 2 weeks, and neither unit alone could have completed the study. We continue to work with the Boise group on other water-related studies. These are just a few examples of our scientific linkages. I thought I'd spend a little time talking about our future direction at the Eastern Oregon Ag Research Center. We're in the process of developing some pretty detailed studies on the factors that control seedling establishment in the Great Basin. There are also a series of weed ecology studies that were initiated within the last several years. I think that jointly these studies should begin to help us design scientifically based rangeland restoration strategies for the Great Basin. In our climate, seedling establishment is a real hit-or-miss proposition, but I think we'll be able to do better than we have in the past. We'll try to increase our efforts to understand how climate and management influence wildlife habitat, both upland and riparian plant communities. And we'll continue to add information in areas of high interest such as grazing distribution, fire ecology, and juniper management. Actually, these subjects all relate back to wildlife habitat as well. Prioritizing research is always a juggling act, and we receive suggestions from a variety of sources. Our advisory committee provides input on a regular basis. This group is composed of ranchers, environmental group representatives, and other state and federal agencies. Most of our research has been the result of requests made by citizens of this region. I'm Tony Svejcar. Thanks for listening.